You know we had to come back with that heat. Got my boy sweating and everything, man. Let's go.
What's the best a nigga in flight mode? Hey, we can take
What up, YouTube? We back. Welcome back to the channel. I got another fire tutorial for y'all today. This one is gonna be like a curly fro mid taper. And as you can see, we starting off with that prep work. Step number 1, I'm picking and combing out the hair, just getting everything ready for me to start cutting. So moving on to step number 2, and you gotta excuse me throughout this chop, man. He really was sweating. It really is fire. But I'm going through and I'm just establishing my bald line. So I'm using my Babyliss effects to make my bald line on the sides and the back. Just throwing it out there. If you need beats, holla at me. The link is in the description below, as well as my email. Let's get to work. Yeah, my boy had to come on up out that sweater, man. It was definitely getting real underneath that cape. Alright, so after we set our ball line, you know, we want to establish the length on top, right? So I'm coming down with the 4 guard, going with the grain. I find that when it comes to like a mini afro or the curls, I get the 3 and the 4 for a sweet spot. You know what I mean? Like the curls will still pop, but it's not too low. And this is why you want to make sure that you're picking the hair out during your prep work. It makes this part a whole lot easier. The clipper is not catching the client snaps when you're trying to rush it through. It's just making it easier for everything to be all one length and the hair is not matted. Okay, so here I got my 1 guard on and I'm just trying to tame the sides and the back and the front of his hairline. What I really want to do is just debulk it a little bit more so that those hairs are more in control, and then I'm smoothing out the transition from the 4 on top. This really helps me to get a better edge up all around. So again, we just smoothing it out, always combing, always brushing, trying to keep the hairs in place. And as you see, we just kind of prepping for the lineup. So moving on to step 3, this is where we blend. And I'm starting off with my lever open, going up about a ½ inch, and I'm just right there at the temple. I will then notch it down midway and then fully closed. And as I'm notching it down, I'm flicking at that bottom line because I want to make it disappear. As you can see, we're keeping it consistent with our strokes. That line is softening up, and we are on our way to a dang good blend. Just stay with me. Now, I'm finna slap my one guard on and scoop right in that temple area, right where you see that line of that transition where I just blended out the lever open, right? But nah, I'm scooping out and I'm pretty much just trying to soften that line right there. So I start off with it open, then I close it up, and at this point I'm ready for my blur blade. My blur blade is gonna take it home. As I said in a previous video, that you can use a half guard and it'll get you the same results, but this really helps me cut down on time. So when I want to get out a fade fast, I like to use this blur blade. As you can see, we pretty much blended, man. I'm gonna come back. I still got some detailing to do. I still see some things, but for the most part, like I said, if you get this blur guard or the blur blade, I'm sorry, it's gonna cut down your timing tremendously. So check it out if you haven't. Right now, I'm just going and I'm picking. Honestly, I'm just picking. I see a few things, want to lay the hair down a little bit more. That's pretty much it. Now we're moving on to the back of the taper, and it's pretty much the same steps. We're going up with the lever open, 1/2 inch, and we just setting in that first guideline. This time though, I am gonna use the half guard just to show y'all, like, we really can do it either way, you know what I mean? When you have it in your bag, you got it in your bag, and I don't care how other people wanna, consider it. Like, it's just there. And when you got the tools, man, it is what it is. What can they say? What can they say?
Just use your tools, baby. Don't let them use you.
On my soul. So now I got my one guard on, and I'm going up another 1/2 inch in a flick out manner because I don't want to set a harsh guideline. So I want this thing to kind of smoothen out a little bit. So I'm flicking out. Continue to comb the hair back in place. I've closed it up at this point, and I'm attacking that line, just trying to soften it up a little bit. Man, here I have my half guard on my ergos. As you can see, it's been through some things, but hey, I call this clipper Harriet Tubman because it done got me through, and it's one of my favorite clippers. But all needless to say, I got my half guard on, and I'm pretty much doing what it do, blending this thing out. Man, I'm telling you, that thing coming together, baby. As I said before, when I'm doing a taper, I like to angle the chair to the side so that I can see the side of the taper and the back at the same time. And I want to make sure that they both are popping. Right here, I have my 1.5 guard on. I'm attacking the dark areas so that I can smooth out this transition a little bit more in the back. Coming back and cleaning up those dark spots with my one guard. We want this thing to be smooth. And guys, this side is gonna be no different. I'm coming in with my lever open, 1/2 inch, notching it down to fade that line up. Coming back with my one guard open, closing it to soft the line, and then tying it all together with my blur blade and making this fade really efficient. The steps are the steps, guys. If you follow them, they will get you where you need to be. Trust me. as you can see, we're moving on to step number 4, which is going to be the lineup process. Before I get into this, I do want to say I did use a holding spray, which I did not show on camera, but I used the holding spray to lock the hairs in place and to give this a crispier look. The holding spray I use is Mega Hold by Immortal. It's the red can. If you don't have a holding spray that you use, I would suggest using that one. I like it. It's a product I'll vouch for. But as you see, I'm just coming around the nape of the neck, around the ear, and giving him a nice shape. I don't want to dig too far into his lineup, his natural lineup, and I don't want to raise, his curve. I want to keep it real consistent, so I'm just doing the same thing on this side as well, and just following what I know. When it comes to the front lineup, I like to use the hot towel shaving cream method. Not only does it cleanse the hair, but it provides that crispy ash when you line it up. And so, keep my client relaxed. I got the hot towel, I got the head massager, I got the oils infused in the towel. Just an overall great experience, premium service. After that, I wipe off whatever residue is left from the shaving cream, and then I apply my lineup spray. Alright, so here's some sauce when it comes to the taper. You want to use your barber pencil right over the cuff of the ear and the back of the nape. It's going to give you some pop whenever you go to start lining things up and applying your enhancements. Always combing, always making sure the hair stay intact. I want to start placing in my vertical bars and going straight to my C cup. Really ain't nothing to it, man. You want to follow the natural line, the natural hairline, and just progress and use your angles. Your angles are your best friends when you're lining up, especially around that C cup, because you might have people with a smaller box. You might have people that they might be light in certain areas. You can never comb too much when it comes to lining up, man. You want to make sure that hairline is on point before you start applying the enhancements. Here I'm putting my pencil in place to give it that contrast and give it that pop. But, it's going to be the same thing on this side. So when it comes to that front edge up, you want to make sure all the hairs are out the way and not hanging over. And we want to start at the highest point and work our ways to the side. My client was sweating a lot during his haircut. Man, I just had to kind of finesse my way through. So you'll see in a minute where I actually had to apply some powder to his head to stop him from sweating so much so I could get this line up right. But you see it's already there. We haven't applied any enhancements to his head, but we're just making sure that as we comb, this is his true hairline, that it's gonna last, and I'm not gonna have to cover anything up. That without enhancements, he's already straight. So this is what I was talking about. I know this looks a mess, but I'm gonna clean him up a little bit. But pretty much he was sweating, so I wanted the powder to absorb the moisture and stop the hair from sticking while I'm doing what I'm doing. But yeah, it must be that hot, man. Fire, you know what I mean? So I'm going back with my pencil, putting in where I want to apply my enhancements, and going back over it with my hitters. Now, when it comes to enhancements, man, it's there to enhance the cut. I try not to overdo it, but I do want my clients to look as sharp as possible. And this is just what does it. You know what I mean? To each their own, though. I also want to make sure that I'm enhancing the back on a taper, because it's going to give it that pop that you need. Now, I know I had my client looking crazy with the dust on his head, but I wasn't going to let my boy leave out the chair like that. Trust me, though. You know, when it comes to this detail work, hey, you have to do it. That's what's going to separate you from the average. Going in, getting the wild hairs on top of the head, over the ears, point cutting, getting rid of any dark spots. At this point, y'all, I'm just being a barber. That's it. And look, that's what they pay us to do. You know what I mean? For some people, this cut could have been done a long time ago. I don't even have to do none of this. But because I really, really enjoy what I do, I want to perfect my craft and I want to put out my best work. I take a lot of pride in my work. I gotta fine tune it until I can't no more, within reason. You know what I mean? So here I'm just attacking that bottom line. You know, I went in with the trimmers and set that ball line, so I gotta use the trimmers to take that line out. Now we finna bring it all together, bring his line up to life with the razor. Always want to stretch the skin. Don't dig in, but just let the razor glide and edge right on that line. And here's what I like about using the 3 or the 4. Like, I really don't have to use the sponge. I could just rub the mousse in his head and he good. Check him out. This him before he got that hot sauce dropped all on his head, boy. It's really a powerful moment right now. You see the kid, he done fell out. He know what's coming. And this is the cut. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about it. Share if you found this tutorial helpful. We coming back next week with even more fire. Y'all stay tuned.